really talking a little bit about what we do here at Niagara and how we're really positioned to kind of really lead, train the next leaders of our experience economy. So hopefully we'll learn a little bit about you, you'll learn a little bit about us, and we can continue to stay in touch as you are selecting your college. We are a school of management. At the end of the day, we are a college of management with really 3 schools of management within it. We train managers, we train leaders. The basis of our curriculum is very business-based. So at the end of the day, that is the focus. Why we have a separate dedicated college is that we focus really on a sector of the economy or the business world called the experience economy. And it's one in which I think all of us really enjoy, right? This is where we say our fun money goes. So anywhere from taking a trip and being a tourist and everything that travel and all of the different managerial roles and leadership roles that travel entail, hospitality, which includes everything from hotels, luxury clubs, luxury experiences, restaurants, all of that kind of falls into that. And then sport. In sport, we really kind of participate 2 ways. Number one, we may sign up for a sporting event that we do, or we very commonly in our country, especially, we go and watch sport as entertainment. These are all 3 different things that make up the experience economy. And why it makes sense and why we devote an entire college just to this type of management training is because when we save our money and we want to spend it on any of those 3 things, we typically have a heightened experience for it. And so the skill set that really best prepares leaders for this economy and to be managers in this economy is really dedicated where one is a premium on customer service. So this slide kind of goes over what the experience economy is and why we explain it. Some of the other programs you might be looking at are programs that might call themselves, we have a number of where that's hospitality and entertainment management, hospitality and travel management. All of these things kind of meld into what we know as the experience economy, and we're very focused on that. It's a large part of our economy. It's valued at over $12 billion. And so we know there's a lot of different, and I think that if I can give you some key takeaways from this evening is there's a lot of jobs as management and managers in the experience economy. Sometimes students don't even realize the number of good jobs there are in this area, and many of which you can cycle into right out of a 4-year program, which isn't always as common as it used to be. A number of good jobs, quote unquote, typically you are required to have a master's degree or something else. But for this sector of the economy, there are a number of businesses that are looking for their next level managers out of a college, right out of a college without an additional master's degree. This slide really kind of goes to the strength of the experience economy and why it makes sense. Some people post-pandemic are like, well, wasn't the experience economy really shut down during the pandemic? It wasn't, like certain facets, obviously, excuse me, some travel and some of those elements of it slowed, but some events were more popular than ever. Things like sport and recreation events, restaurant experiences, especially takeout and new and novel ways to kind of enjoy the experience economy. And what was really interesting is that sport tourism in particular was really resilient during the economic downturns. So this really well positions a really strong industry that has jobs and are looking for students that have the degree to get the jobs. The other thing I want to point out to you guys of why it might be an exciting time to come and study in our College of Management around the experience economy is the next big generation of consumers that everyone's kind of putting their eyes on and just selling them are millennials. And 78% of millennials choose to spend their money on an experience over a possession. So prospects for the growth of the experience economy are very strong. And so we do expect there will be continued need for managers in these 3 areas of hospitality, sport, and tourism for the years to come. All right, welcome anyone who has joined. I've seen that we have some new folks on the line. So we're just kind of working through the first couple slides of what makes Niagara unique and how we prepare the next managers and leaders of the experience economy. Happy to stay a bit back if you have any other questions, but we're not that far into it. Again, a brief introduction of myself. I am Bridget Nyland. I'm the Dean of the College of Hospitality, Sport, and Tourism Management at Niagara, and it's really great to see you guys tonight. Okay, so we are, why hospitality, sport, and tourism management? I already kind of told you, good job prospects. We are a college that dedicates, excuse me, I might just grab some water real quick.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us. If you do have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll get to them at the end. Unless you have something more pressing, then feel free to raise your hand from your little Zoom screen. But we'll let Bridget Nyland take over. My name's Erin, by the way. I work in the admissions office, so feel free to ask any admissions related questions as well.
Thanks, Erin. Erin is also an alum of our program, so really proud alum of Erin. So they, again, kind of catching our folks up that may have joined a little bit late. We are a college of management. At the end of the day, you walk away with a management degree, but also you get a comprehensive look, experiences, and insight into the jobs that are a part of the experience economy. I will tell you that people that work in the experience economy really tend to enjoy it. They're very active jobs. They're jobs in which some of your main goals is to just provide people fun and provide them a pleasant experience for their fun money, for their entertainment. And so there is a high level of job satisfaction. And that is even the case still with where we've seen some things where people sometimes short-tempered, the type of stuff that can happen when an experience doesn't go well. The managers feel very empowered to continue to create and be creative, to continue to kind of provide positive experiences to individuals that are managing and experiencing that economy. What type of skills do we highlight? Number one, management skills. So really, how do people lead groups of people to run an event, a sporting event, manage a hotel, manage a luxury club, provide a food experience either through restaurant or a banquet or that type of party-like atmosphere. So there really is a lot of management. It's very active jobs, knowing how to kind of delegate work, absorb work. Teamwork is a really key function, and people really enjoy working in that because there's this strong sense of team that comes out of it, and communication. And of course, everything these days are IT and the use of technology and how that has even changed our experience economy. A really good example of that, guys, would be that, back in the day, our college produced travel agents who largely made travel arrangements for people, planned trips, planned experiences that included maybe sport and recreation, maybe arts and entertainment. That those jobs still exist, but they're a little bit different now. And so much of it goes through the technology in our phones. So a number of our graduates work in the areas where they work for mobile applications that are related to hospitality, sport, and tourism management. Again, they report a high level of job satisfaction. They like going to work. They still have that teamwork atmosphere. It's just a lot more is done through, as we know, our phones, social media, those type of things. I said before, I kind of keep hitting it home, especially for any parents on the line or talking to your parents. At the end of the day, we are a management college. We are a college of management. We train individuals to lead these organizations, to lead the frontline workers that are often on the front lines providing good service. When you go through our curriculum, the first 2 years of our curriculum have some flexibility to it. So that's really important because you have the ability for some choice and selection. But at the end of the day, after your first 2 years, you will have a solid foundation in basic business principles: management, operations, marketing, finance, regulations, and law. You'll understand the foundations. You then move into your last 2 years, which by that time you really have the ability, you'll have taken enough of your kind of standard courses, got a very good feel for the industry. Then you'll start to, really focus in on maybe what particular area you want to work with. I'll give 2 examples for that. If you're a sport management student, you're going to come in and you're really going to get a solid foundation of what the skill set that you will need within the sport realm. you'll get a very good survey of the different subsectors of the sport economy. Do you want to work in collegiate sport? Do you want to work in community-based recreation sport, health and fitness, professional sport? You'll really explore all of those. You'll also have an opportunity based on our curriculum to get out and start building your job experience a little bit. That will also help further kind of help you narrow maybe, or at least come up with some of the maybe key components of where you want to ultimately look for a job. The same can be said for tourism and event management and hospitality, which includes luxury club management, food and beverage, and real estate and hotel planning. You'll come in your first 2 years, and it's a nice type of curriculum because you also get to meet people outside of your specific area of study. So sport, you're taking classes alongside of hospitality and tourism. We're all kind of together. We have a very much team approach where we really consider ourselves one college. We do a lot of events together. Our events tend to be a little bit more on the fun side of things than some academic events typically are, but you really get a good feel for that. Once we have that solid foundation, you then move into a guided experiential learning process. One of the nice things that Niagara offers to students are connections for jobs and internships. We have been around for 50 years as a college dedicated to hospitality, sport, and tourism. Our graduates are throughout the world, and they really feel a loyalty and a dedication to help you guys, to help our students. So we get a number of opportunities. We have a job board that is just dedicated to our college. I always joke with Erin, it's literally every day that I will get an email from an alumni or an industry connection with a paid job opportunity, and a lot of times a paid internship opportunity. So we have a lot of things. You guys are seniors, some of you are transferring in. Thinking about where you're going to end up for the rest of your life can be daunting, and we know that. So we want to provide you just the right amount of support. If you're a student that comes in and you already have a really good idea of what you want to do, and maybe you already have some connections in the industry, we have kind of that we'll work with you on that level. If you're a student that doesn't, and you need to really kind of start working and building your network and building your resume and really figuring things out, we have that level of support for you as well. So we are big enough to provide a lot of resources and have a lot of industry connections, but we're small enough where you feel very much of a personal approach. We really love when people come and join and study with us because we're really excited to get you ready for, we always say it's not the 4 years you're here with us, it's really the 40 years after that we really think about, and we try to meet people where they are and provide them support and what they need in order to get where they want to be. So that's some of our internship opportunities. We'll talk about where those placements are in a minute. Over here on the screen, and as part of our experiential learning program, we do have international opportunities. We really work hard to make sure those international opportunities are within everyone's reach, regardless of financial circumstances and time circumstances. Our two most popular programs are on the hospitality and tourism side. We have a relationship in Lake Como, Italy, and where our students go over and work and study and earn money during the summer at the Valdeste Resort. It's a luxury 5-star resort, and our students work up to that. They'll take Italian your first 4 semesters here, and then go over and work at the Valdeste. Financial aid applies to that summer. You get 12 to 15 credits of coursework. Most of our students who take advantage of this particular opportunity end up graduating a semester early, which obviously is cost effective for a lot of reasons. The other opportunity we have, and Erin took part of it when she was here, is we have a cultural immersion program in Peru, also operating during the summer. Tends to be tied more to our tourism major, but again, a wonderful experience. Again, same thing, financial aid applies. We're really able to kind of help students get those experiences. Down below is a picture of Wembley Stadium in the United Kingdom. For our sport program, we take an international trip. Right now, our focus has been, we obviously paused for a couple years, but we will kick back up next summer. Students will take a course that kind of understands international sport, and not necessarily a work trip, more of a trip where then you'll actually go over and explore some of the sites and meet with some of the organizations you studied with. Outside of our international opportunities, the last thing I want to share with you is that we do have a number of learning experiences here, especially those tied to our sport management major. We take students to the Super Bowl. We just announced the 8 students that will be going and working the Super Bowl. Their housing is covered by us. Their meals and stuff are covered by the college. The only cost they will incur for their week-long time working and interning at the Super Bowl will be the flight. So we, again, try to make things very within reason. There is also a scholarship program sponsored by our dining services here, Met's Dining, that further tries to offset the costs of any of these opportunities that I've talked to you about. Our hotel group, our hotel student association, and our club management association and our sport management association take trips. I'll also talk about that in just a minute, but those are in addition to these experiential learning opportunities that will be part of your curriculum if you choose. These are our 3 different degree programs. Obviously, this is hospitality, and this is obviously the different things and ways you can study hospitality. So we have a number of specializations within it. Our most popular right now is luxury and hospitality operations. We have focused on resort and spa management as well as club management. Club management is done through this associate called the Club Management Association of America. It is a professional association. It is a wonderful organization to be part of. Our students who are on this track have a near 100% job placement. Typically, if it's below that, it's because they, for whatever reason, did not decide to stay on the club management track, which very rarely happens. We have a chapter that's dedicated to that. Those students in that program, if they're part of the Club Management Association, they will have a guaranteed paid summer internship. And then also, again, they will attend 2 sessions per year, one in the fall, one in the spring, networking events where they get a mentor with the Club Management Association. They compete. Our Club Management Association group is the number one chapter in the country, and that's up against big schools like the University of Nebraska and the University of Central Florida and some of your bigger schools. Our chapter has been the top chapter based on our students and everything. They're wonderful. And just an interesting note on that, guys, is that that club management actually pulls in students from both sport and tourism as well. So you don't have to be a specific major to be part of that. What a lot of students end up doing is it's somehow a minor and they might focus on other things, but it's a part of our curriculum that's really unique to Niagara and definitely a really successful point of studying with us. We also do a lot in food and beverage management. We have a number of food and beverage managers throughout the country working for big corporations, and I'll share with that a little bit later. Our sport, as I mentioned before, we have folks that focus on the operations side of it, so running the events and operations. We also have some students that focused on revenue management, on selling tickets, selling corporate partnerships, selling media rights, the broadcasting sport contests, all of the stuff that goes into there. And we also have specific sports communications that's dedicated to the particular part of our industry. We are the largest and best resourced sports management program in Western New York. And then finally, tourism and destination management. This is where you're going to find event and meeting management, a very popular major right now and a very sought after major. All of your large corporations need event and meeting managers. It is a really skilled ability to put on large events, whether virtual or in person, and we have a lot of push for that. We also have recreation management that kind of flows in and out of our sport and tourism management. I'm going to pause, and Erin, do we have any questions, or does any of the students, if you have a question, I just know I've talked a lot at you. I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to ask any questions.
There's not any questions currently in the chat, but we can give it a second, see if anyone does have anything. I know many of you are on here to try to qualify for that Eagle Experience Scholarship. So I'd really love if each of you asked at least one question so that I know that you're here and present so that I can mark you qualified for that scholarship. So if you don't have a question right now, that's totally okay, but we still have a little bit more PowerPoint to go. So try to think of something and put it in the chat and we'll get to it at the end.
Great, thank you, Erin. All right, so what are the kind of skill sets that you'll walk away? Of course, you'll have a sound understanding of how to lead and manage staffs. And actually, I think it's also of being led and managed. I think that's a key ability to be a good team member and coachable, especially in your early years in the industry. That's when you really get to learn from those other folks in the industry and figure out how you yourself want to develop as a leader. Important to any managerial role is understanding accounting and how you're making money, and especially if you're losing money. So you have a dedicated 2-course sequence that's dedicated to accounting and budgeting. But what's fun about that, and I honestly mean it can be fun, is that those concepts are taught through the lens of sport, tourism, and hospitality. So you're not necessarily studying accounting and budgeting through a lens that you don't have an interest in. And so I think students really tend to enjoy those classes much more than if they were taking standard just accounting classes or business or budgeting classes out of a school of business. How do you lead, manage, and how do you hire? How do you manage? How do you hopefully not have to fire? But if you have to, how do you have that skill set? That's also something that we focus on. We want students to feel prepared when they leave our college for whatever the workplace might throw at them. And again, you'll be the managers. So it would be like most likely that you'll be learning how to perhaps manage people and ensure they don't have to be let go rather than being worried about being let go. And then just, key items in terms of strategy development I want to also use this slide to highlight our curriculum allows and absorbs a lot of creativity and entrepreneurship. What's nice about hospitality is people are coming up with ideas every day about how people can be entertained and enjoy life. And so we leave space in our curriculum for you to bring your own skills and talents and have those be developed or honed or supported. Some things that it makes sense to study hospitality, sport, and tourism with us here at Niagara. Number one, like I mentioned, we are not a subset of any other college. We are not a side program. We are a dedicated college to hospitality, sport, and tourism management. We have over 9 full-time and experienced faculty members. That's really important, guys, because you want to make sure that when you go ahead and choose a college, you want to make sure that it's a college that you are getting the most of, and having those dedicated faculty members that are on your campus full-time is a really important part of that. We also know the importance of getting good faculty advisement and the relationship. So our faculty serve as your academic advisors. You get to know them very well, and they'll be guiding you through your curriculum and your college experience. We also have Monday through Friday, and pretty much actually Monday through Sunday, you'll always have a staff member that you can reach out to, whether it's in person or via text. We have college staff that are dedicated to student experience. You will know who to call, where to call, when to call, and we do make ourselves, the dean's office staff, we are available basically Monday through Sunday, 24/7 to support our students during the academic year. So you'll always be able to get a hold of one of us, and we share our cell numbers liberally so that you always feel like you have someone there on Niagara's campus. And that's in addition to the really great Office of Career Services that we have already, other helpful university departments. And again, I mentioned we have a huge alumni base. They are very loyal. They come back each year, once time in the fall, to something that we call Alumni Advantage. Those alumni come back, and their sole purpose, they come from throughout the country and sometimes the world. Their sole purpose is to come and spend a Friday with you and to help you prepare for your next step. And they really do open up their networks to you. So it's a wonderful opportunity that makes studying at Niagara a bit different than some other choices you may have. Where do our alumni go to? Where are the graduates working? This is just a small sampling of some of the places that our alumni go to work. And I'll walk through some that are on here, and I'll mention some that aren't. From the hospitality realm, we work with all the large hospitality providers and their corporate management trainee programs. Marriott, Hyatt, Hilton are some of the larger national names. Last week, we just had the Hyatt recruiters on campus. They interviewed students for both paid summer internships throughout the United States, as well as their corporate management training program. And those jobs are good jobs that come with a signing bonus and an immediate kind of entrance into a training program, which can be very comforting for students to know that you're going to go in your first few months at a company, you'll really be properly trained so you can do a good job there. On the food and beverage side, we have a Fortune 500 company here in Western New York called Rich Products. We have another one called Delaware North. Rich Products is basically in kind of food manufacturing and service. Delaware North is more about providing hospitality. They are the food and beverage coordinator at all of our national parks and most of your national ballparks. So there is this tie-in to tourism. They're located here in Western New York, and we have practicum training programs with both of them, in part because a number of our alumni work there. So our students go off to work there. Hamister Group is an example of a local hotelier and sport management firm. They are a number of places where our students have graduated and are currently leading. We have one young lady who is only a 2018 grad, and she is now managing a hotel. Very good lifestyle, great. She is building a wonderful culture. And so it's really great to see our students out there and kind of taking on those leadership roles. On the sports side of things, they're not up here, but we have a number of graduates that are working in both professional and college sports. There's too many to list, to be honest with you, but we have a relationship with the Buffalo Bills and the Buffalo Sabres, the Bandits. We have a AAA baseball team here called the Buffalo Bisons. We also send students down to paid internship in Cooperstown with the Hall of Fame and the Baseball Hall of Fame and the various businesses that operate down there. We have some students up in Toronto working with the Raptors. That's in addition to students working both at Niagara University Athletics, our Division I athletics department, as well as the University of Buffalo's Division I with their Division I FBS football team. So we really do try to create a lot of opportunities, and our graduates take advantage of those and go on to work at them. On the other side of sport, more participation-based, the Ironman group, which runs Ironman triathlons. We have 2 students that work with them, our former students, as well as theme parks like Six Flags. And then Aramark is a food service provider, food and beverage. So that's where just some examples of where our students go and work. Our students also go on to work in community-based sports. So we have a strong relationship with the national YMCA networks, and we have students in leadership roles in YMCAs throughout the United States. Some last points, because I've talked and thrown a lot of information at you tonight. We want to highlight that our curriculum is very flexible and innovative. We have major concentrations and electives. We try to keep it as open curriculum as possible. You really have 2 facets to your curriculum. One will be the college curriculum, which there's a fair amount of flexibility to combine and have you build the degree and courses that suit you best. We also are part of Niagara's liberal arts concentration. So you do have some liberal arts courses that we support, and those are really good courses for hospitality, sport, and tourism people to take, because quite frankly, they make you very well-rounded, and you really have an ability to communicate and connect with people from all different backgrounds and nationalities, which is super helpful in our field. The benefit of coming to a small university like Niagara is that we can easily absorb different minors, specializations, and independent studies without delaying your graduation. We pride ourselves on that. So the last thing I'm going to go back up here and announce is next year we will be launching something for the sport. We have some dedicated scholarship and scholars programs for students. On the hospitality side, we have the Marani Scholarship. The Marani Scholarship is sponsored by another hotel group that our alumni work with. Erin will be able to give you all the specific details of applying for that, so you'll want to follow up with her. But it is an annual scholarship. The student is selected. They are considered the Marani Scholar. We have one in each class. It's a $7,500 scholarship. Is that correct?
It's $30,000 over 4 years.
$30,000 over 4 years. And then it also comes with guaranteed paid work opportunities for the Marani hotel groups, and they own several properties, both on the Canadian and USA side of Niagara Falls. We also are proud to be an educational partner of the Statler Foundation. So students studying hospitality will also be available to earn Statler scholarships. Those arrive when you get here. Almost all of our hospitality students receive them. They very much offset the cost of books and other incidental expenses that can happen in college. And then we have a Statler Scholarship of Excellence that is awarded to a continuing student and offsets is a direct dollar scholarship. Lastly, we have a relationship with the Pagula Sports and Entertainment. They are launching the PSE Scholars Program. If you're unaware and outside of Buffalo, Pagula Sports and Entertainment is a 360 is full circle hospitality. They own hotels, they own record labels, and most notably here in Buffalo, they own the Buffalo Bills, the Buffalo Sabres, and the Buffalo Bandits, and the Rochester Amerks. So 10 students per year will go into the Pagula Scholars Program. This is unique to Niagara University. 10 scholars per year will go in that. They will study with the Pagula Foundation for all 4 years. At the end of that, 2 students will be selected from each cohort to move into paid internships with them. Though there are opportunities with the Buffalo Bills and Sabres outside of that program, so I don't want to at all make that feel limited. We have students working with the Bills and the Sabres on a regular basis, and we will continue to do all the programming that we do with Pagula and their ownership and those opportunities. So that is the College of Hospitality, Sport, and Tourism Management at Niagara University. I would love to hear your questions.
Hi, Bridget. So the first question is, where else, oh, sorry, I just moved. Where else do students get to travel to with the College of Hospitality, Tourism, and Sport Management?
You're going to pretty much travel nationally. You're going to hit each region of our country. In your 4 years here, we typically rotate our national trips for both our Hotel and Tourism Student Association and our Sport Management Association. So that's a great question. So thank you for answering it. Outside of what we talked about just with your curriculum, we have 3 student groups that travel. Hotel and Tourism Association, the Hospitality and Tourism Association includes hotel, Sport Management Association, and Club Management Association. They take 1 national and 1 regional trip each year. The regional trip occurs in the fall, the national trip occurs in the spring. The national trip tends to rotate. So once within that, we'll go West Coast, Central, South on the national trip. The pandemics has thrown that off a little bit, but you do get the ability. What do you do when you go? You're typically gone on the national trips anywhere from 4 to 6 days. You're excused from class during that time, wherever you are. So this year's trip, they're going to Charlotte, North Carolina, which is a hub the sport management group is, and as well as hospitality and tourism. Niagara alums run the Convention and Visitors Bureau, which is all the tourism and hospitality units in Charlotte. And then we also have alums that work with the Charlotte Hornets. And we will be kind of going through both collegiate sport for our sports students and all the different elements. Then we'll also be going ahead and going down and touring all of that. So that's just some examples. Outside, so that nationally you will hit in your 4 years the ability to kind of travel different spots of the United States. Regionally, we always go somewhere typically within the Northeast, maybe over into Ohio. Those are smaller 2 to 3 days trips. Next week, our Sport Management Association is going to Pittsburgh. We will be spending 5 days in Pittsburgh. They will be spending 2 days at the University of Pittsburgh working with the interning, shadowing with the Pittsburgh Athletics Department. Then they will be they'll be going to a Penguins game and also touring the Steelers and Pirates facilities. Our Hotel Association group is going over more in New York State. We have a very kind of robust tourism industry with wineries. So they're going to kind of tour the winery sector of New York State and kind of learn how those businesses are run, including hotels, tourism groups, as well as some of those businesses. So that's their regional trip. Outside of that, guys, there's also Niagara has a robust international studies department program. So if I've mentioned somewhere, if I haven't mentioned something, we work, and right now we have several students that have gone on their own to study in Thailand, in South Korea, all of those different places. So that's more one where you would craft your own and join a more national group of students to study there. Some new things coming up, just to tell you, we have a dual degree program in Germany. So there's the opportunity to travel and study in Germany. We also just recently are developing a program to go to Helsinki, Finland. So there's that's more again on the sport and tourism side of things. So a lot, that's what, again, we have that dedicated college that is very unique and allows us to do a lot of things that other programs just unfortunately aren't structured to do outside of Niagara.
Yeah, I actually studied abroad 3 times while I was in college, so there's definitely a lot of options out there for you. So Bridget, the next question is, if we come in for the academic exploration program, can we join the College of Hospitality?
Yes, absolutely. And we work hand in hand with the academic exploration program. And I think that's the big thing I want to get across to everyone. Whether you come in as academic exploration, and we have a really great and easy pipeline for you to kind of figure out what you want to do, take a few of our courses, and those courses would be transferred to any major in the college or any major in the university. So if you, for any reason, have a change of heart, you wouldn't lose any time or lose any credit. So I think that's a really important point. We want you to just find your home here at Niagara and a major that suits you well. So we want to make it as easy as possible. And that's the other thing I'd like to share is that, we want you to come to Niagara and study and find your spot here. We're also we work so closely with students that it's not uncommon for us to work with a student who may come in the door as hospitality, but maybe they were interested in communications or maybe they were interested in business. We'll either make sure that you can minor in those, or we can flip. You can major in those and you can minor in hospitality, sport, or tourism. So there's a lot of flexibility to it.
Awesome. And then the last question, if I wanted to run a nonprofit business, would this college be a good choice?
I think it would be. I can especially tell you that personally, you would be able to work with me a lot. I do a ton of work with nonprofits. So we have a skill set, especially one that I brought to the college because I do a lot of community-based sport work, which is mostly non-for-profit, but a non-for-profit is a non-for-profit. So, their missions are different, but their structure and what they need to get to succeed is very much the same. And we have something here that I would love to get you involved in. We actually received a grant that our Dr. Darren Treadway, who's on our faculty, he received a large grant from a foundation to provide support to non-for-profits. So you would actually have the ability to work with Dr. Treadway and actually learn what he is teaching non-for-profits in terms of how to make themselves strong and viable. So it's pretty unique to Niagara that we have this. It's called the Strategic Assistance Program for Nonprofits. And so we call it SAP, but isn't the greatest acronym. But what they do is very cool and has been developed. And right now, our biggest clientele of that are youth sport organizations and recreation-based, community-based organizations that are in that program. But since Dr. Treadway joined us, he's also been able to build that to serve both tourism and hospitality when that fits. So I hope that answered that question.
Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions from the group? We have a couple more minutes.
Okay, before we lose people, I'm going to send each of you guys a note, and it's going to invite you to come on campus. I know we have a couple people that are local, but I would love for each of you that are even if you're not local, we can set up a separate Zoom for you and students. But we have a program here. You'll get a note from me about when you could potentially come visit campus. We can set up a time for you to shadow a class, have lunch with a group of students, get a campus tour, meet with some of our faculty. Again, if you're not able to come to campus because you're a little bit farther away, we can kind of set up some meetings for you with students via Zoom. We have a wonderful group of students from all our different majors that love to talk about coming and studying at Niagara and how it's a great place to live and learn.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out to us. We'd be happy to elaborate on anything after we hop off the Zoom tonight. So thank you.